All right, so welcome back. So this video is going to talk about how we can store variables on our calculator. So we're going to start off with the idea of x equals 2. We'll start with a simple number. So what we do is to store it. So we'll have 2. Just going to press that number right there. And we press the STO button right here on the left-hand side. And now it gives us a little arrow there. And we can store whatever letter we want it to be stored as using the alpha key right here. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. X can also be used right here when we're in regular function modes. Because if I press just this button, there's my X. And if I hit enter, now it's 2. And anytime I use X now, it's going to take that value that I just stored as and calculate it exactly in the problem. So we want to do the expression 8x minus 7. We know 8 times 2 is 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. That one's pretty easy to do by hand. But we do our 8x minus 7 on our screen here and hit enter. It gives us our 9 as well. So this is a very useful tool for future questions. Now, obviously, the x equals 2 is a very straightforward answer here. We're going to be storing some more interesting ones, though. We have another interesting example coming up that we'll look at. All right, so next up we have one that's a little more interesting. All right, so next up we have one that's a little more interesting. It's going to use fractions. This is going to allow us, because more often than not when you're storing, they're not going to be exact integers like we saw in the previous example. It's going to be more interest found from using fractions or trig functions or logs or exponentials or a whole host of other more interesting scenarios. Let's look at the simple fractions to kind of just show you how this can be used. So A is 11/17. So we just do 11 divided by 17. And we hit enter. We get a decimal equivalent for that. But we want to use the exact value rather than a rounded off decimal. If we press again our STO button and we use alpha now to select A, and you see how now it's a blinking A cursor? That's how we know it's using the alpha symbol. And our button for A is right here. Now you can see it's answer arrow A. Now when I hit enter, A has now been stored as 0.647. And negative 5, 9, same thing. So negative 5 divided by 9, enter. We store that as B, so alpha B. And then if we do 4A plus 2B in our calculator, so 4 alpha A plus 2 alpha B, it's going to use the exact values there rather than anything rounded off to avoid any possible rounding errors in the question. So that answer would be, that would be the expression 4A plus 2B. Very useful for a lot of things will be going on in the future. So when I refer to storing variables, this is the process you want to use. Get your answer, whatever the numerical answer is, then store, and then alpha, whichever one of these letters best fits your scenario. Either you want it as A, maybe it's a variable K, so you store as alpha K, or you just want to use the X button, that's that regular button right there. Either way is fine.